We all want to know, what were Trump and Obama talking about at the funeral? These two arch rivals sitting together, whispering to each other, giggling. That's what happens when a world leader dies. People from all across the spectrum come together to pay their respects. And it just so happens that that's what happened in this week's parsha. Yaakov Avinu, the great tzaddik, is being brought to Eretz Yisrael. His body is being brought to be laid to rest in the Holy Land in Eretz Yisrael. And we have Goren Ha'ata, the phenomenon of the silo of the crowns that encircled the Aron of Yaakov. The kings of Canaan, the princes of Yishmael, all gathered, laid down their arms to pay their respects. Now, I don't know what Jimmy Carter was doing in the final moments of his life, and I don't want to know. I hope that his anti-Israel, anti-Jew ideology died along with him. But we do know what Yaakov Avinu, lahavdil, we do know what Yaakov Avinu was doing. He was giving brachos to his children. He was planting the seeds of survival so that his children, his legacy, we would persevere throughout what was going to be a long and challenging galus. Yaakov begins by saying, Hey asfu ve'agida lachem es asher yikra eschem ba'achris hayamim, gather near and I will tell you about the end of days, which the Gemara famously says, Bikesh Yaakov legalos es haketz. Yaakov wanted to tell them when Mashiach, when the Geula would actually come. V'nista mimenu, but it was hidden from him. Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky has a twist on this to explain that Yaakov Avinu first thought what will give these children hope is to let them know when this Geula will actually come. But when he thought about it, how far into the future it would be, thousands of years, he realized, if I tell them that, that's not going to give them hope. It's going to give them despair. So instead, Yaakov shifts, and he doesn't tell them that, but he gives them brachas, birchas Yaakov. What are the birchas Yaakov? Now, we've been saying birchas Yaakov for a long time. In third grade, we had to memorize it. If I meet my third grade Rebbe today, that's what he talks about. Remember, birchas Yaakov? But there is a common thread that runs through Birchas Yaakov, and you know what it is. Yaakov is telling each of the Shvatim that they have a unique portion, a chelak in Eretz Yisrael. Zvulun, you're going to have a portion by the beach. Asher, you're going to have a portion with the olive orchards. To give them a concrete symbol of hope, to say that no matter how long and how dark this galus is, remember, you have a place. I'm giving you today the deed to your chelak, your lot in Eretz Yisrael. It's coming to you. Just hold out. And it seems to me that this extends with Yaakov insisting on being buried in Eretz Yisrael. All the Shvatim and their families go up from Mitzrayim to Eretz Yisrael to bury Yaakov, deepening their ties to Eretz Yisrael. And when they went, perhaps they went to see. Zvulun got to see his portion and Asher got to see his portion. When they came back to Mitzrayim, they told their children, their grandchildren, when they were putting them to sleep, I know it's here in Mitzrayim, it's dark times, but don't worry, I saw it. We have a beautiful piece of land that's ours. Give them that concrete symbol of hope. That's the first thing Yaakov did, to plant those seeds of survival, of hope in his children, the Bnei Yisrael. But before Birchas Yaakov, there's another bracha, an overarching bracha that's not for each individual particular shevet, but one that applies to all of them, and that's a bracha that we say every night to our children, Hamalach Hagoyel Oisimi Karo Yavarech Es Hana'arim. There's a new group that I'm a part of on WhatsApp called Parsha Playlists. There's some guys in, I don't know if they're in New York or Baltimore, that they curate a list every week, a list of songs connected to the week's Parsha or the week's Haftarah. And it's become a real moment of anticipation in our house. Wednesday, Thursday, when it comes out, we get to play the new Parsha playlist. Gets us in the mood of Shabbos. And it started this year, and no Parsha playlist until this Parsha's Vayechi has been so long. Vayechi is, I think it's like 8 hours. It's like 50 songs. You know why it's so long? Because Hamalach HaGoyel's in there. And there's dozens and dozens of versions. This is our song of hope. Why are we so excited with Hamalach HaGoyel? It's not even talking about us. Yivarech es Hanarim. It's talking about blessing Ephraim and Menashe. We're not Ephraim and Menashe. We probably don't even descend from Ephraim and Menashe. What's the excitement with Hamalach HaGoyel? Why is that the universal bracha for our children? Zoktas Fasemes, Yivarech es Hanarim. It doesn't say bless Ephraim and bless Menashe. It says Ne'arim. Ne'arim means awake. The midah of a boy, to be his oirerus, to have that fire, to be on fire. The danger of galus is that it's such an interminable, long slog that you start to get less excited and be dulled and be blunted and be apathetic and be jaded. I don't care. No, Yaakov said what the Klal Yisrael needs to get through galus is that the midah of Na'arim, that fire, to be ignited, to be on fire, there has to be bracha in that, so that no matter what, they're always going to be excited, always going to be inspired. And we see the brachas fulfilled. You know what the biggest proof is? The Parsha playlist. That 2,500 years later, we're still making up new versions of this song. That's this iris, we're still on fire. And the third thing that Yaakov did was he put Ephraim before Menashe. Yosef puts Menashe and then Ephraim. Menashe means ki nashane elokim es kol amoli. Hashem made me forget my hardship. Menashe represents, writes the Sfas Emes, Menashe represents sur meira, overcoming the struggles, overcoming the bad. And Ephraim, what's the name Ephraim? Ki Yifrani elokim be'eretz yoni, because Hashem made me fruitful. Hashem made me flower, made me grow, made me blossom. That's growth above the line. That's asay tov. And the logical progression of growth is you have to first sur meira, to get rid of the bad, fix yourself, and then asay tov, and then you can make the growth above the line. And that's how Yosef set it up in front of his father, and Yaakov said, I'm sorry. You're right, Yosef. You were able to sur meira, overcome all the temptations and all the nisyonos that were thrown at you. But if we tell the Bnei Yisrael, who are going to go through such a galus that's so long and hard, physically, spiritually, with tests left and right, if we tell them that you cannot start your asay tov until you're sur meira, until you get rid of all the mud and all the clutter that has piled on over the centuries, until you climb out of that pit, you can't do asay tov, they're going to weiter, give up hope, more despair. Yaakov says, I'm going to give a Pesach for Chassidus. I'm going to put Ephraim before Menashe. Just start with Asay Tov. Don't get overwhelmed with the guilt of what you've done, of the things that have piled on. Start Asay Tov. Do a little Ephraim. Do a little light. Come into shul, get a chavrusa. Come to shul daven. Start doing a little bit of or, and that's going to push away the chayshich, and that is how you're going to get through this dark galus. So these are the three lessons, the three seeds of survival Yaakov gives in his final hours, in his final moments. Number one, give a concrete symbol of hope. You don't need to buy an apartment in Rechavia to have a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. If you want to go there now, you want to have your own place. Gesund hate. But everyone has a chelik in Eretz Yisrael. We all have a concrete connection to it. It's when the Geula comes, we have our place. And we have to give our children those concrete symbols of hope. And the second, to stay on fire. Stay with the Hasayrus. Keep yourself excited. If you're not doing something that excites you, if you feel bored, if you feel apathetic and disconnected, come into shul, let's talk, let's figure out a way to get you ignited, to stay lit, to stay on fire. And lastly, don't get overwhelmed by the bad, by the sur meira. We have to start with asay tov, lean in to take on something good, some kedusha, bring it into your life, some or, some light, bring it into your home. And when we do these things, we will be zoicha to get out of the galus. This is what will get us there, to the Geula Shlema, to the fulfillment of Hagoyal Isimi Kol Ra, to really be in Eretz Yisrael with the Geula Shlema. Amen.